Good morning, everybody. Welcome. So the next panel will be a specialized seminar focused on opportunities for Czech companies which would like to participate in projects financed by international financial institutions in Eastern Europe and Western Balkans. So, welcome. So, let's begin. It's a great honor here to be a moderator of this panel today. And it's a great honor to have representatives of the institutions, namely it's EBRD, it's EIB, it's IFC, and it's our national EGAP. So please, I'll have some introductory remarks in the beginning, and then we shall listen to our speakers. So my name is Mikuláš Nozar, and I work for Confederation of Industry of the Czech Republic. We are the largest employers organization in our country. First part of my welcome speech will be focused on Ukraine, and the second one on Western Balkans. So our key focus is Ukraine now. There is currently fierce competition for the reconstruction of Ukraine. There will be great opportunities in almost all areas, from infrastructure, like railway development, modernization of European transport, and others, to healthcare, such as modernization of hospitals, health centers, supplies to hospitals, etc. Since the beginning of the Russian invasion to Ukraine, the Confederation of Industry has been lobbying for greater government support for Czech companies in this market. The reconstruction and modernization of Ukraine represents enormous business opportunities for Czech companies. Investments in Ukraine infrastructure, energy, water management, healthcare, and other key sectors can bring long-term benefits and create new markets for Czech products and services. So please now let me allow to mention a few facts in connection with Ukraine. First, the Ukrainian market is very important for Czech businesses. Czech companies have long exported almost 1% of their total exports to Ukraine. But in the first 6 months of this year alone, our exports to this country increased by 45% compared to the previous year. Companies are telling us that they do not want to leave Ukrainian market. For many others, new opportunities are emerging there. Czech companies can play a significant role in the reconstruction of Ukraine, and many of them expect promising opportunities. To succeed, they need conditions comparable to those enjoyed by their competitors in our countries. This is a crucial point. In this respect, the Confederation welcomes the continuation of the Humanitarian Stabilization, Reconstruction and Economic Assistance Program for Ukraine, which was approved by the current government in early September. We hope that the next government will preserve this program, because we were lobbying a lot and it was a great success, so let's see how it will continue. We will definitely be involved and support the continuation of this program by Ministry of Foreign Affairs. It is particularly important that the half of this money of this program is allocated to the National Development Bank to co-finance projects by Czech companies under the EU Facility for Ukraine, known as Ukraine Facility. The program, which is currently being prepared, aims to assist with the post-war reconstruction of Ukraine. It primarily involves programs for the reconstruction of critical infrastructure and hospitals. The government has thus responded to the request made by our Vice President, Radek Špicar, at the tripartite meeting in July this year, which we greatly appreciate, as I said. We are certainly pleased that the government has approved EGAP's capital increase. Director Janku will introduce more information about this program for the purpose of ensuring export credit risks in Ukraine. So far, there has been great interest in the program, especially among small and medium-sized enterprises. Secondly, our companies want to do business with Ukraine. In May, a business delegation organized by Confederation of Industry with the support of Ministry of Industry and Trade of the Czech Republic headed to Lviv, Kyiv and Dnipro. The entrepreneurs, accompanied by Mr. Tomáš Konečný, Kopečný, special government representative for the reconstruction of Ukraine, the companies had the possibility to establish important contacts for reconstruction and cooperation of Ukrainian industry. The presence of the Czech delegation and selected innovative companies aroused great interest and respect in the local business community. The local community appreciated the clear signal sent by Czech entrepreneurs with their visit. We are here, and we are here to help in every way we can. Thirdly, we want Ukraine to become economically strong and close to us. We support Ukraine's approachment with the EU. It is very important that all financial assistance to Ukraine leads to strengthening the country's alignment with European Union standards, in particular, reducing corruption and increasing the transparency of public procurement procedures. Companies targeting Ukraine need certainty will not be disadvantaged and can rely on a fair court system if necessary. From a business perspective, this will only be beneficial as it increases economic potential and attractiveness for both traders and investors. Fourthly, our companies have the expertise. The Confederation of Industry established a working group for Ukraine, led by Mr. Jakub Weinmann, CEO of our member company Bonatrans Group. The aim of the working group is to involve as many member companies as possible in the reconstruction of Ukraine, to provide background information for negotiations with the state administration, and to prepare expert opinions on export financing, insurance, and other areas related to the support of exports to Ukraine. And so this is for Ukraine. Now let's move to Western Balkans, which is our long-term focus. In the context of the radical change in the global geopolitical situation and Russia's war aggression against Ukraine and the conflict in the Middle East, the strategic partnership between the European Union and the Western Balkans is more important than ever. The Czech government continuously supports efforts aimed to integrate Western Balkan countries into Euro-Atlantic structures. Cooperation with the region of the Western Balkan is the utmost security interest of the Czech Republic, because economically and security-wise stable Western Balkan is a guarantee for our security. Important migration routes from the Middle East lead through this region, and the area is associated with the hybrid actions of Russian Federation, which has intensified since the outbreak of the conflict in Ukraine. For the EU, together with the Western Balkan countries, there are two key priorities. The first one is EU accession, and the second one, but not less important, is gradual integration into the single market. There is no other region in the world in which the EU has invested more resources, financial resources, human resources, and expertise. At the last annual summit of the leaders of the European Union and the Western Balkans, held on 18th of December 2024 in Brussels, Ursula von der Leyen said that the Commission was preparing pre-financing worth over 300 million euro to start with the reforms. A dedicated growth plan for the Western Balkans was adopted with the potential to double economic growth in the region over the next decade. At the same time, the plan offers Western Balkan partners gradual access to the single market. Let me give you one example. 3 years ago, the Green Lane border crossing between Western Balkans and the EU became operational between Greece and North Macedonia. The so-called Green Lanes reduce waiting time at the border by up to 80%. The EU is also bringing the Western Balkans into the single euro payments area, SEPA, which with Albania and Montenegro joining in January this year, and North Macedonia and Serbia following only a couple of months later. Last but not least, I would like to inform you about the Western Balkan Investment Framework, WBIF, which is accelerating high-impact projects in energy, transport, and digital infrastructure, mobilizing EU and international financing and opening opportunities for Czech companies. And the second point, there is an upcoming international trade fair in Albania with Czech official participation coordinated by Czech Trade, which will showcase Czech innovation and facilitate partnership across the region. It will be held in Tirana next month. So that's for me. Thank you for your attention. Now just some organization details. After our dear distinguished panelists are finished with their presentations, there will be a space for Q&A. So after all 4 presentations are finished, there will be possibility for you to ask directly them about your questions or ideas. And after the Q&A is finished, there will be plenty of time to hold bilateral meetings at the Contact Ukraine booth right over there. So you can meet with the speakers and speak with them privately. So this is about today's program. And now please let's welcome the first speaker, who is Mr. Marian Kršiak, who is principal banker for European Bank for Reconstruction and Development, EBRD. Mr. Kršiak, floor is yours. Thank you for your attention.
Dobrý den, good morning, everyone. Let me introduce you the European Bank for Reconstruction and Development, which is an international institution focused on supporting the countries of operation in transition to market economies. We do this by supporting sustainable investments, either via loans or equity, into innovative, energy-efficient, green and sustainable investment. Our bank was established in 1991. It currently has 77 shareholders, the biggest one being United States, followed by United Kingdom, Japan, and some other countries. We also have shareholders all of the countries in which we operate, and the European Union, which is represented by both European Commission and EIB. We have a share capital of 34 billion euros, which was recently increased due to the increased demand, which is driven by our operations mainly in Ukraine, about which I will speak after. And we benefit from the AAA rating, which allows us to provide our clients with a competitive pricing. Where do we operate? We operate in nowadays more than 40 countries. On this map you see majority of them. We have just recently opened operations in 6 countries in sub-Saharan Africa. There is one note here: we have discontinued the operations in both Russia and Belarus since the war in Ukraine started. So basically from Czech Republic to the east and south up to the sub-Saharan Africa. Here you can see the 6 new member states, and we're currently in discussion of opening operations in Iraq. So that's for the regional coverage. What we do, we have a strong local presence in all of these 40 countries in which we operate. We have resident offices with local people on the ground, local bankers. We have a unique knowledge and insight in each of these countries. We help and work together with the governments on support on the policy level. We do legal and regulatory reforms together with our shareholder countries where we operate, and we help them build capacity also by employing consultancy. For our clients in corporate sector, we can offer a broad variety of instruments, from loans through bond issuance to equity and any other type of financing instrument. We can offer that in both local currencies of the countries where we operate or in strong currencies such as US dollar or euro. We can also offer multi-region, multi-country loans, meaning that our clients can benefit from the financing across multiple countries where we operate. We can provide financing either on a bilateral basis between our bank and the client, and we can also take part in syndicated or club loan facilities. What we have done in Czech Republic, just for your idea, Since we restarted the operations in 2021, we did some 1.8 billion euro in 136 projects in the Czech Republic alone. Last year in 2024, we did 228 million in 13 different projects. All of them were in private sector, so no sovereign in Czech Republic. 46% was equity. The majority was debt financing. 70% of our investments were in what we call green investments. In Czech Republic, we focus on, which is visible from this graph, on on private sector investment, innovative green technology and energy efficiency. A part of that, we also support Czech companies which export in our other countries of operation. Now this is quite interesting for any potential clients of ours. So this table gives you an idea of the volumes and tenors of what we do. So typically with loans and equity, we aim on ticket size between 10 and 300 million euros. With guarantees, it's slightly lower. Our typical loan is, corporate loan is between 5 and 7 years, but we can go with the maturities of up to 15 years. With equity, it's typically 3 to 7 years. As I mentioned earlier, we can provide all sorts of corporate financing, from typical senior secured up to mezzanine bridge financing, working capital, and so on. And for the guarantees, we are using something which we call trade facilitation program, which means that we support local banking partners, also here in Czech Republic, with which we issue and confirm letters of credits for our clients who are exporting to other countries. Now I'll speak slightly more about Ukraine. The topic of today is Ukraine and Western Balkans, but everything which will be said here applies same for Ukraine as for Western Balkans or any other of our countries of operation. In Ukraine, we pride ourselves to be one of the biggest and one of the first investors who supports the country since the war started. Overall, since the invasion, we have invested more than 8 billion euros. Last year only, in 2024, we have invested almost 2.5 billion in different sectors, different areas. We do both public sector and private sector support. So we support the government of Ukraine and its ministries, as well as separate corporate companies. Majority of the projects were in private sector, and we focus on support from SMEs up to big corporates and state-owned enterprises across infrastructure, agriculture, manufacturing, food sector, and also resilience of the country in general. To be able to do this, we have, as I mentioned in the beginning, we have negotiated with our shareholders the increase in the capital. So we have strong capital support to continue to do so, and we believe that the moment the war will be over, we will even increase our support to rebuild and reconstruct the country afterwards. So if I would divide the support which we provide in Ukraine nowadays, there are 3 key instruments. One of them is the bilateral financing between us as a bank and the corporate clients. That typically means a loan facility 10 million euros and higher. For smaller loans or smaller clients such as SMEs or mid-caps, we can use risk-sharing facilities and portfolio risk-sharing. We do so in cooperation with local Ukrainian banks, as you can see here, which include Raiffeisen Ukraine, Ukrsib Bank, Credit Agricole, Piraeus Bank, Ukrgaz Bank, Privatbank, Credobank, and some others. So the smaller clients who would not qualify for this 10 million euro plus loans can still benefit from our support by cooperating with these Ukrainian banks on the ground, and we provide the benefit of our supported financing via these platforms. The key areas or key priorities, again, for you to have an idea what are the sectors that we cover and where can you potentially cooperate with us, include infrastructure, energy, financial institutions, and industry, commerce, agribusiness. In infrastructure, this spans from road reconstruction, which typically is public sector, regions, cities, municipalities as our clients, to heating sector, water, wastewater and water management and public transport. In energy, it is anything from energy generation through transmission to distribution to the end users. In financial institutions, we support, as I mentioned earlier, the local Ukrainian banks, which then pass the benefit of our financing to the final customers. And industry, commerce, and agriculture, we support the agricultural sector in Ukraine. We support manufacturing and anything else in commerce. Just some examples of what we did in last year in the resilience and support of the infrastructure would include one of our key clients is the railways of Ukraine, where we provide emergency liquidity as well as capex investments, and we support municipalities such as Lviv and Dnipro, but many others as well. City of Khmelnytsky, for example, we invested in public transport and also into these emergency liquidity facilities. One nice example, which now we cooperate on with our colleagues from IFC, is the Chornomorsk ferry and container terminal, where we are running tenders for the concession of operation of both the container and ferry terminals. And for the sake of the time, I will slightly speed up now. So current opportunities for you as clients to work with us include project finance, trade facilitation program for export companies, procurement, where you can take part as suppliers to our financed projects. We also provide advice for small businesses and technical cooperation for both our clients and suppliers. I will briefly cover the topic of procurement as well. We did over 4 billion euros worth of procurement just in last year. That's in general for the bank. In Czech Republic, Czech companies took part in 19 procurement tenders in the last 3 years and won 11 of them, which is a nice 58% success rate, I would say. And the total value of the contracts which were awarded to the Czech companies was some 123 million euros. Now, how can you as a company take part in our procurement? Our procurement has two main parts. One is for the public sector, one is for the private sector. Everything is available on our website, so I will just quickly show you where to find it. The website is ebrd.com. You can work with us either as a supplier of goods or services, as a contractor or as a consultant. So consultants can bring different type of services such as technical inspection, all types of lenders monitoring, due diligence, legal, economical, technical, and so on. We can support you in that, and all that information is available in our website. So very briefly, all our projects are published in so-called project summary documents, which you can find on our website. So you can look up there what we have financed and what we will be financing. And specifically for business opportunities, we have a dedicated webpage for procurement business opportunities, where you can find all open tenders where you can take part. That's all transparent, and you can find it easily. If you were interested in taking part in any of those, it's good to register in our so-called e-procurement portal. So you can see all the information in there without registration, but once you register, you can take part and apply in these tenders for procurement. So this is the webpage where you should go register yourself, and then you can choose from a broad variety of industries, regions, and types of goods and services that we or our clients do procure. So that would be it in a nutshell, and I'll be happy to answer any questions later on in the Q&A session. So thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Mr. Krysiak, very much for your brief presentation. And now please welcome Ms. Gabriela Mates, who is the head of Prague branch office of European Investment Bank.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for the introduction. So I'll briefly introduce the European Investment Bank Group, also the EIB Global, our development arm, and then I'll tell you a bit more about our activities in Eastern Europe and Western Balkans, specifically Ukraine, Moldova, and the Western Balkans. And at the end, I'll mention also a few details about our procurement procedures, how you can get involved and where you can find more information. So EIB is the EU bank, the EU's lending arm. We are also the world's largest multilateral lender and borrower, so the world's largest multilateral financial institution. We raise our funds on international capital markets, and thanks to our AAA rating, we have access to funding at favorable conditions. These favorable conditions we then pass on to our clients, which is one of the key benefits of working with the EIB. We are also the EU Climate Bank, and that's because we are one of the biggest providers of climate finance around the world. Since we've been established in 1958, we've lended over 1.5 trillion euros. We are based in Luxembourg, but we have offices all around the world. We are at the moment located in all 27 EU member states, and then we have regional hubs across the world. We are, as I said, the EU bank, and that's because we are owned by the EU member states. Here you can see the shareholdings. Czech Republic has 0.9%. It's related to the size of the country when accessing the EU. In 2022, we created EIB Global. That's the EIB development arm. We did it so that we can really focus on what we do outside the EU. We now have dedicated governance, organization, teams, both in Luxembourg and outside, that are focused on our business outside the EU. Here you can see how much we've done last year. It was almost 8 billion euros. During the last 10 years and going forward, it's around 10% of our business that we do outside the EU. So as I said, we are the EU bank and we focus on the EU, but we want to make sure that we continue developing the neighboring regions and other regions around the world. You see the numbers of how much we do in all of these regions. As the climate bank, we try to do at least half of our business in green financing. It was even more, 59% outside the EU last year. Other important topics are gender balance, cohesion. We focus on the least developed regions, both inside EU and outside the EU. And outside the EU last year, it was also half-half between the private and public sector. We are the policy-driven, not profit-driven, unlike some other investment banks. So we really focus on EU policy goals. Outside the EU, it is the climate financing. That's the priority number one. Then it is digitalization, technological innovation, agriculture, and social infrastructure. These are the 4 strategic priorities for our business outside the EU. We are also helping Ukraine as much as we can, so that's within all of these priorities our focus during the last few years and going forward. And other regions like Africa, Global Gateway are also important for us. In terms of our financing in Ukraine, we are one of the largest investors together with EBRD in Ukraine. So far, we've invested 7.6 billion euros, mainly in public infrastructure where we see that our help is needed most. It's both lending and advisory support, because what we see in Ukraine is that there is a lot of projects, but not all of them are bankable at the moment. So we are also helping the government and the private sector finalize the project documentation and the investment strategies. We also, together with the government, want to make sure that the procurement, the public contracts are transparent and help fight corruption, which is also one of the biggest issues in Ukraine at the moment. In terms of sectors, the main focus for us is transport and support to SMEs, as you see from the graph, and I'll talk about both a bit more later. How can you, Czech companies, get involved in the projects we finance in Ukraine? The two most obvious ways are the EIB contracts, so the projects financed by the EIB in Ukraine. And the second way is consultancy and technical assistance contracts issued directly by the EIB when we need expertise from third parties. These are also the contracts you can bid for. Other way how we can support you is through Czech-Ukrainian joint ventures. They need to be incorporated in Ukraine, and the way we can help you is through intermediated financing provided to the Ukrainian banks. You can see the list also on the slide. We unfortunately cannot finance small companies directly, so that's why we work with local banks. It applies across all countries. We provide them financing at favorable conditions, which they pass on to the small and medium-sized companies. There is also a new program which will support larger financing for EU investors and exporters in cooperation with the export credit agencies like EGAP, where we will cover 100% the political risk and complement the EGAP coverage. There are, as I mentioned, advisory assignments that we run in Ukraine. There is a big JASPERS advisory assignment when we are helping the government to prepare high-quality investment projects. As I said, we focus on the projects in transport, the private sector, SME support, and really want to help them get to the stage where they would be bankable for multilateral financial institutions like EIB, EBRD, IFC. The sectors that we focus on under this mandate are energy, clearly very important as part of the reconstruction of Ukraine. We work very closely with the Ministry for Communities, Territories and Infrastructure Development. It's the heating system, energy efficiency, renewable energy, the key sectors where we try to be present. Transport, it's railway, roads. There is clearly a lot to be done after and still during the war. Healthcare is also a big area, then social infrastructure, affordable housing, agriculture, bioeconomy. Will not read all of them. You can do it for yourself. Water sector and environment is the last one I would mention here. There is another advisory assignment. The previous projects were mainly in the private sector and the different industries. This one is focused on the Ukrainian government when we try to ensure that the projects are ready to be financed by international institutions like ours. We ensure high standards. Again, we focus on transparency and try to help fight corruption in public procurement. What we do specifically, we can help the government prepare feasibility studies, environmental social impact assessments of all of the projects, the procurement plans, and basically this is very much tailor-based to what the government needs at the moment. It's an assignment we do together with EBRD, and we allocated 30 million euros for this project. A few of the concrete projects. So it's, as I said, in terms of social infrastructure, we help with the renovation of schools, hospitals. It's in the locations you can see on the slide. Another important sector, transport. Some of the specific projects that we financed are, for example, new trams in Lviv or trolleybuses in Lutsk. It's overall reconstruction and modernization of the railway. We want to make sure that the new infrastructure is in line with the green standards and requirements, and that's also a way how to help Ukraine during the accession process. A few examples from the energy sector. We focus primarily on supporting electricity infrastructure reconstruction. Winter is coming, so it's always an important area to, during this time, to ensure that there is sufficient heating and also that renewable energy is being developed as we progress the green transition. Another important area that I mentioned is the help for SMEs. Here I would mention two specific products we have. So I said we work mainly with the local commercial banks, and we can provide them either funding or guarantees. When it's funding at favorable conditions that's provided to the commercial bank that is passed on to the SMEs. And that's something that you can also mention to your local partners in case you already have partnerships in Ukraine. And the second way is guarantees. That's something that is done by the European Investment Fund, our daughter institution. It's a guarantee to a commercial bank that cover potential losses related to lending to the small and medium-sized enterprises, which is typically riskier. And hence, we provide this extra coverage to the local banks. Now I'll talk a bit more about our activities in Western Balkans. We don't have offices in each of the countries outside the EU, but in the countries you see on the slide, we do have offices. So it's Belgrade, Sarajevo, Tirana, and Skopje. Here we focus on infrastructure in line with our strategic priorities, green digital transition, SME growth, innovation are the key areas again. Just to give you an idea of how much we've done last year, in terms of signatures, we provided 527 million euros to the region. And we also facilitated, we don't give grants, but we can help our clients obtain grants from the European Commission. And for the Western Balkans, it was 164 million euros. In terms of sectors, it's transport again, where we focus together with energy sector. Just to give you idea again of some of the specific projects that we finance in Western Balkans, I would highlight rail connection in Albania, the Belgrade-Niš Railroad in Serbia, urban transport in Sarajevo, or the overall roads rehabilitation and safety in Serbia. In terms of the energy sector, it's wind farms in Bosnia and Herzegovina that we finance. Here we are also working a lot with the commercial banks. We provided credit lines to commercial banks in North Macedonia and in Serbia. And support for SMEs that I mentioned already with the local banks in the region. Water sector, it's another important area. It's something that the EIB started to focus on increasingly both inside and outside the EU, because we see that water is becoming really a scarce resource. So there is additional financing being provided to wastewater treatment plants here, the one in Skopje, or we also finance water supply and sanitation in Bosnia and Herzegovina, or municipal water in North Macedonia. Finally, education and health. It's often university, either new university campuses, new facilities, research and development that we try to support in the region. Here you see examples from the Banja Luka University, the Serbian education infrastructure, or schools in Serbia. We also provide JASPER support, so that's the support we give to European regions. It's advisory that again helps these regions to finalize the project preparation so that they are ready to apply for financing from EIB. Finally, in terms of Western Balkans, we also support the Western Balkans Investment Framework Facility that was mentioned. We help companies get access to the blending facilities, which means that we provide them financing, and once they receive financing from the EIB, they become eligible for a grant from the European Commission. So it's also a very interesting proposition for many companies where they get access to both funding and grant from the European Commission. Here, just an overview of the sectors that we focus on. Very briefly, we are also present in Moldova since 2007. Some of the projects we financed are, for example, the construction and regional hospital in Cahul, or district heating rehabilitation in Chisinau. We have an office in Moldova, and similar to the Western Balkans, we help the country to get ready for EU accession, for EU membership. As an overview, the key benefits of working with the EIB, attractive pricing, long maturities. I would also mention the signaling effect, because we see that being important for our clients, that once EIB is present in the project, it very often attracts other public and private investors, because we do very thorough due diligence and give a certain quality stamp to the project that helps the crowding in of other investors. Here you can see the links where you can find more information. I provided the contact details for the Prague and Kiev office, but as I said, we are present in all EU member states, and you can find the contact details for our local offices on our website. And very briefly about the procurement procedures. There is a guide to procurement, so similar to EBRD, all the information is on our website. The guide to procurement gives you all the details of what we require, both inside the EU, outside the EU. Inside EU, we rely on the EU directives being implemented into the national law, while outside the EU, we focus on the principles of EU procurement. You see some of them on the slide: equal treatment, non-discrimination, mutual recognition, transparency. We do not check the procurement procedures in the projects we finance. That's something I would highlight. So it is the promoter who needs to make sure that the procurement is in line with the EU regulation. We focus on the financing conditions for the projects we support. It's, as I mentioned, non-discrimination. So the contracts we finance are open to all nations, all countries. There are the exclusions that are in line with the EU law. We do not accept any mandatory local component, but there is exception for the 15% margin of preference for specific contracts outside the EU. For international procurement, it's open procedure or restricted procedure with pre-qualification. You see the thresholds for the different types of contracts, works, goods, services. I'll go through these slides quickly because you can find all of these details on our website. Just to give you an idea, outside the EU, we very much prefer the open procedure for works, supplies, or services. In case of large, complex public contracts, there is the option of restricted procedure with pre-qualification. If the client agrees, or EIB projects are published in the official journal of the EU. And now recently we also started publishing all of the procurements, the public notices on our website. So you can find all the projects we finance inside and outside EU on our website. And lastly, we've signed a memorandum of intent with the Ukrainian government in 2023. So we want to help them harmonize the procurement procedures with those of multilateral development institutions. And also we help them align their e-procurement Prozoro with our requirements to make sure that the financing of public projects is as easy and straightforward as possible. So that's from me, and I'll be happy to take any questions that you have. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Mates, for your brief presentation. And please welcome on the stage Ms. Katerina Foster, Operations Officer, Manufacturing, Agribusiness and Services for Europe of the International Finance Corporation, IFC. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much for the welcome, and I'm very glad to be here with you today to introduce the International Finance Corporation, a part of the World Bank Group. So quickly, we'll go through what IFC is, our value proposition, our solutions, both on the financing and the advisory side. I'll spotlight a bit on Ukraine, and then I'll give you some project examples and contacts. So the IFC is actually part of a larger World Bank group, which is 5 institutions. The IFC itself is the largest global development institution focused on the private sector and emerging markets. So we don't do anything public. We don't work with the governments. We only work with private sector companies. Our other sister organizations do work with the public sector, in particular the EBRD, which is colloquially known as the World Bank. So we are part of this larger group. We are international, and we are owned by 186 countries, and we operate in over 100 countries of the world. In Europe, that includes all the countries of the Western Balkans, Romania, Poland, Ukraine, Croatia, in the Caucasus, and Moldova as well. The Czech Republic has actually been part of the World Bank Group since 1993. It's a shareholder. And as of June 2024, so last year, the IFC had a long-term committed investment portfolio of around 500 million with Czech sponsors. Unfortunately, unlike the EBRD, the IFC does not have a mandate to finance projects in the Czech Republic, but we are able to work with Czechia sponsors globally. So if you are a company that has operations in Ukraine, if you have a company that has operations in Latin America or Africa or Asia, we're able to work with you under that corporate banner globally. So here you can actually see the map of where we operate. These are our regions. Europe makes up a small portion of our countries, but actually carries a lot of weight in terms of the amount of volume that we do there. On the left-hand side of the chart, you can see the sectors where we work, and it is, as with EBRD and EIB, across the real sectors of manufacturing, agribusiness, health and education, tourism, retail, property, infrastructure, telecommunications, etc., as well as on capital markets through local banks and through trade finance products as well. And just a sense of where we work with Czechia sponsors. So in our regions, we can both work with local companies. So let's say a Ukrainian company wants to expand, we can work with them, or with companies from developed markets like Czechia to invest FDI into emerging markets. So for example, one of our largest transactions with a Czechia sponsor is with CTP, which is a very large real estate developer that's headquartered in Czechia. And we've been working with them since 2021 for them to finance the development of green certified industrial properties in both Romania and Serbia. So it's both local sponsors as well as FDI. So this gives you a little bit of a sense of why companies come to us, why companies come to IFC. It is the reduced political risk coverage. It is that IFC stamp of approval. It is our global industry expertise. So we can take our knowledge, our industry specialists sitting all over the world and understanding the private sector, the markets, the challenges of development, and bring them to bear for your particular company and your particular issues. As we said, we have a global presence, but also a lot of regional assets, so a lot of offices all over the world. We provide local currency funding. And of course, I think most important here is that we are able to provide value-added advisory. So this is a very important component of our work, and we can provide advice on operations, environment, social, HR, etc. So again, going back to CTP, not only did we provide them with a lot of financing, we also provided them with a lot of advice. We're working with them on corporate governance and HR to help them meet global best practice standards. So this chart kind of gives you a bird's eye view of all of IFC's products, right? And obviously our core business is on the investment side, loans, equity, trade and commodity finance, and structured finance. Importantly, like our partner institutions, the EBRD and the EIB, we're able to leverage blended finance to de-risk investments. And for this, we're very grateful to our donors, but it's very helpful in circumstances like in Ukraine, where you have conflict, where you have an invasion scenario where the risks of investment for most banks would be too high. And of course, on the left-hand side, I just wanted to bring your attention to this idea of upstream. This is a new program for us that is a type of advisory that we offer that's a little bit different from other multilateral institutions, in that we are able to work together with corporate sponsors in advance of project development. So for example, if a sponsor has an idea to develop a project that might need financing in 2 to 3 years, we can come in at that early stage and finance a feasibility or market assessment and finance pilot projects, regulatory reviews, market assessments, sustainability strategies to ensure that that project is then bankable by either the IFC, by parallel lenders, or by other institutions. So a lot of companies come to us and they say, how do I apply for IFC financing? You don't apply. This is a conversation. So please come to me after this session. I'm happy to speak with you, but in very structured terms, this is a bit of what we're looking for from the kinds of companies that we work with on the financing side. I won't read from this verbatim, but I think if I were to point out the most important thing here, it's really about sponsor commitment. We really want to see that the sponsor, the shareholder, the company management are there together with us for the project and actually for a long-term partnership. In terms of where we operate in Europe, these are the countries that I mentioned before, but I've got them laid out here in a list so that it's very clear. And then, of course, apart from Europe, we work in a lot of other countries, as I mentioned. I just wanted to touch very briefly on one of our key strategic themes, which is green and sustainability-linked financing. I won't go into the detail of this. I think the presentation will be shared afterwards, but this is one of the products where we have been seeing exponential growth, particularly in Europe over the last few years. And these are green loans, green bonds, and sustainability-linked instruments. Basically, what that means is the financing that we are able to give these companies, for example, under a green loan or a green bond, we say that the use of proceeds, the money must go to climate-related activities. Or for sustainability-linked financing, we say the money can go for your general operations, for CapEx or working capital, but your company must meet a number of targets or KPIs, which once you do so will actually decrease the cost of the financing to you. So I think that's become quite an interesting instrument for us, and CTP, our engagement and financing of CTP was actually a sustainability-linked instrument. So this gives you a little bit of a sense of the kinds of companies we support, the volumes that we're looking for across the globe. So you can see some European companies, manufacturing companies here, as well as Ukrainian agribusiness companies. So this gives you just a sense of the kinds of activities that we can engage in. Of course, Ukraine is a huge area of focus for us and has been over the last 30 years of our operations there. We have increased our presence there over the last 3 years, ever since Russia's full-scale aggression began. And I think the main point of this slide for us is that the resilience of the Ukrainian economy, of Ukrainian businesses, even SMEs, has been really inspiring, and we are there to support that. And we see that every day with our clients, that they want to go on, they want to grow, they want to integrate with the EU, they want to set a higher standard for themselves and their operations. But this will take time with all of our support, and it will be key that there will be reforms that happen on the government level that make EU accession and integration a smoother process. And we are there to support that through our World Bank sister organization. As you can see here on the left, we have invested a large sum in Ukraine over the last 3 years, 2.7 billion total, just for the private sector. I don't know the numbers for EBRD on the public sector side. They are probably multiples of this, but for the private sector, this is how much we've been able to invest. Of that, 1.7 has been our own funding, and the rest has been mobilized capital. You can also see some examples of the kinds of transactions that we have done over the last few years in agribusiness, local capital markets, energy, telecom, transport, logistics, and trade. Very briefly, we are running a project specifically focused on the agribusiness sector, not just Ukraine, but all across Central and Eastern Europe, that is supported by the Ministry of Finance of the Czech Republic, for which we are very grateful. And this project is meant to support sustainable investments to battle global food insecurity. And the key components of this are we do events and knowledge sharing. We've done 8 of these already. I just came back from one yesterday. And we also work one-on-one with companies to build bankable transactions with them. So, for example, we have 4 engagements that we're working on with now with 3 Ukrainian companies and 1 Central European company that we hope will lead to investments in the future. And as part of this program, we have already developed a transaction where IFC has invested 130 million euros. So I think this might actually be my last slide, and I wanted to give you a sense of what I mean by we work with you in project co-creation, project co-development, and then we finance that project. So that 130 million euro investment, this is here, it's MHP. It is a sustainable protein producer. It's one of Europe's now leading poultry producers, and we help them to develop the technical parameters for their biogas production, which I thought was really, really cool. Then we financed that and other aspects of their business, and now they're actually exporting LNG to Germany. Similarly, we worked with Astarta, another large agribusiness company, to develop their market strategy for their next few years. And based on this assessment, we invested 30 million in their new soy protein concentrate facility in Ukraine. So I know these examples are mostly agri-focused. I'm sorry, I focus mostly on food, but of course we make investments across different sectors, as I mentioned. For Czech companies, we also would be delighted for you to join us in our procurement, and I'm happy to share the details of our procurement portal. All the information is available there. I'll just give you the site, and then you're welcome to go there and participate. As with the other institutions, all of our projects are posted online, both on the procurement side, the advisory side, and the financing side, and all of that is available to anyone who wants to go look. So that's it for my presentation. I would be very, very happy to talk to you about your business, your needs, and answer any questions you might have, and thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Ms. Foster, for your brief presentation. And now, last but not least, our final speaker is Director Mr. Michal Janku, who is in a Department of Export Credit and Investment Insurance of the EGAP, the Czech National Export Guarantee and Insurance Corporation. Mr. Janku, floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone, ladies and gentlemen. It's not very easy to speak after these two ladies and gentlemen who are speaking greatly, and also the information they provided to you were very informative. But I hope that also I will bring you some new information about us and about the products and possibilities which we are offering to you, to Ukraine, and also to other countries in the region. I will not spend much time talking about us, because I hope that all of you knowing us very well. We are providing the support to the Czech exporters for more than 30 years, ensuring commercial and political risk, and we have a full state guarantee, which is very important for us when providing the support to banks and to our clients. And we have to follow the OECD rules. OECD consensus is kind of a cooking book for us, and there are some basic conditions which need to be met when we are providing the support to foreign countries. Maybe first of all I will show you a bit difference what's the difference between the commercial insurance and the state insurance. Commercial insurance is usually providing the support for you for most developed countries for the repayment period up to 2 years. The EGAP portfolio is in that countries which are not commercially insurable, and for the length of the repayment periods which are longer than 2 years. Sorry, but of course we are in some countries together, and we are trying to cooperate with the commercial market, because the services which we are trying to provide to you should always helping you to provide your business abroad. If you look at the Eastern Europe and Balkans, it's really widespread of opportunities what we can provide to you, because there I can provide to you the standard products, the commercial products. We have also the countries of cover there, as also colleagues mentioned, and we have a special program for Ukraine. If I will start with the most developed countries, we are talking about Croatia or Greece, which are categorized in category 0 of countries according to OECD categorization, and these most developed countries are closed for our cover for all the projects and deliveries up to 2 years. Up to 2 years, sorry. And in that case, if you will need the support, we will ask you to ask colleagues from commercial insurance companies. Talking about longer repayment periods, then it's also our portfolio. But our standard countries are categories 1 to 7, which are most of the countries of Balkans and also Eastern Europe. Very standard countries: Bulgaria, Serbia, and also Ukraine, which is at the moment off cover for standard products, but there is a special product which is called Ukraine Fund. There was also mentioned by EBRD that Russia and Belarus is currently off cover. It is the same for us. Both of the countries are off cover. Let's look at Ukraine. What's special? Lukáš has already mentioned that there were some improvements in this year, which are quite significant, I hope. First one is that we were improved the limit of the fund. It was almost doubled. At the moment, the capacity of the fund is almost 26 million euro, and the reason, of course, of the fund is to helping the Czech companies to continue in the exports to Ukraine, because the banking sector at the moment is not able to to provide direct financing or any loans to Ukraine's partner. As you can see, we provided support for more than 50 million euro, and none of the case was a claim, which is great, not for us but also for all of you. Typical deliveries were agriculture, food, machines. Usual repayment terms 3 to 6 months, but it can be a little bit longer according to the program, and amounts usually tens, hundreds, thousands of euro, or small millions euro. There you can see the products which can be used for now. It's suppliers credits, both bank finance and non-bank finance, and insurance against the risk of the impossibility of the performance of the contract. That means that you sign the contract with your partners in Ukraine, and during the production it will be cancelled. And there are some costs connected with the productions, and we are covering this cost from the productions. The limit for the borrower is 5 million euro. It's a threshold for all the projects you have ongoings. Of course, in case something is repaid, then the limit is on the revolving basis. The second thing which was improved this year is the length of the repayment. It was prolonged from 1 year to 1.5 years, but as I said, none of the projects use this maximum repayment term. Basic conditions, of course, geographical aspect. We can provide the support to no war zone destinations, and it's hard to predict at the moment which or where will be the war zone in the near future. So we do not have a strict line, and we are assessing each case on ad hoc base. Second very important thing is the positive experience with the importer. You do not need to have a direct experience, but you can receive also the non-direct experience, which means that you have some other company in their group or some friendly company in the Czech Republic or EU, which will provide you with some confirmation that there was a payment from your customer in Ukraine. All the other conditions are the same as for the products. So there is a standard analysis. You need to send us applications, and if we assess the client as sufficient from the financial aspect point of view, then we are able to provide you the support. You can use these websites and this emailing. I would also mention at this point that we have a service calling pre-scoring, which is shortened analysis based on the financials of the company, when we are able in a few days tell you if the company has sufficient limit and what will be the price of the insurance. It's, I think, very, very useful for you when you are thinking about business with potential clients. If we look at the rest of the countries where we can use the standard portfolio which we provide to you, we are really trying to focus on the products which are used by the banks and by the clients. From the very beginning of your projects, which means bid bonds, advance payment guarantees, till the very end when we will insuring your export loans or performance bonds or warranty bonds. We have also products for investors. We can provide you a loan as for the investment which you have in the foreign territory, which is covering the political risk. I think from last years it's a very famous product because you can see what's happening not just in EU but also in the United States, where nobody knows what will happen tomorrow. So we have a lot of clients for this, but we can provide you also with the insurance of the financing of your investment abroad. It can be greenfield, brownfield. but it can be also the refinancing of your investment. So it means that you bought some company a few years ago, and you need some OPEX at the moment. So we are able to provide you the refinancing of this old capex, which you will be able to use as the OPEX in the future for your operation. Basic conditions, and now I'm talking only about the credits over 2 years. We can finance up to 85 years of the export contract value. 15% of the contract needs to be paid from the money of the buyer. There needs to be the semi-annual repayments and of course trouble-free credit history of your client. 2 new products I would like to mention. Both are more or less domestic. First domestic is insurance of the working capital loans or domestic investment loans for companies which are called as export-oriented companies. Export-oriented companies are companies or exporters which export share is at least 25% from the export of the last year. And applicant is always the bank, and the advantage of or advantages of the products are that you have at least the same price for the financing or even cheaper, and you do or you should need or you shouldn't need so much security over your loan as in case that the loan is provided just simply by the bank. So in case the bank is asking to provide some security, the building or some equity, in that case the insurance is providing the same security for the bank, and it will somehow help you to handle the cash flow and the risks covered. Second product I would like to mention is framework insurance of the bank guarantees. You may know that we were providing the bank guarantees from the very beginning of the EGAP existence, but what's new on it is the framework agreement, which provides you with several benefits. First one is that after we will sign a framework agreement, we will issuing the bank guarantees in days. In past, it took weeks or sometimes even months if it were bigger guarantees to approve it and to sign it. So the time. The second one is the revolving system, that in case that you will the bank guarantee is decreasing the volume of it, then we can insure a new guarantee according to the free limit. Third one is that we are calculating the limit based on the group financials. So if you are a bigger group, you are able to sign a framework agreement as a group, and then we are providing the guarantees to each entity in the group. It means that mostly the group rating is the best, and the single ratings of the entities in the group might be worse. So in that case, you will always receive the best financing according to the rating of the mother company or the group. And finally, we are preparing also the support of the domestic guarantees, which we should launch at the beginning of the next year, and it will be also implemented in this framework agreement. So we will be able to provide you with the package where you as the client will be able with your bank to have one framework agreement where you will use it for all your domestic business and also for the export activities. Shortly, the insurance process. I would like to mention that once you visit some fair abroad and you have some potential clients, we'll be very happy to discuss with you from the very beginning. If you will share us what you discuss, and at this stage, we'll be very happy to provide you with the pre-scoring, as I mentioned, where we will be able to assess your client and tell you if the client is strong enough, if it has some history, and what would be the pricing and what will be the limit on the client. In case you will agree with your client, then we will follow with the application approval process, and finally we are signing the contract, and you may export. My colleague from EIB mentioned that we are starting a cooperation together. I think it's very important to mention that a couple of weeks we are discussing the potential cooperation together. It should work as the reinsurance or guarantee for EIB to the countries or to the projects where the EGAP limit is insufficient, or where we can, or where we see the potential to share the risk. It will take few weeks to finalize all the procedures and all the KYCs, but we hope that then we will able to provide you full package of services together to several countries. I would like to also mention that we have such agreements with other ECAs. So in case that you will be involved in multi-country projects or in some bigger projects where also other exporters from other countries are involved, we will be happy to help you also in these type of projects, and we will share the risk with other ECAs, with other EGAPs in other countries. And it will not bring you any extra costs or any administration, because everything is made by EGAP internally. Okay, thank you very much for your attention, and I will be happy to answer all your questions.
Thank you, Mr. Janku, for your presentation. And now let's move to the Q&A part. So our speakers will be happy to answer your questions. You can ask directly, target one of the speakers, or you can ask generally, and they will pick who will answer to you. So please, Mr.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for the presentations. My name is Marek Fischer. I'm representing the company Frigera. We have a product and we have a client in Ukraine that we already find that is interested in our product. It's something between 5 and 10 million euros. The client in Ukraine doesn't have the financing. We are able to find a commercial loan in Czech Republic, but need the guarantee. And I saw the limits, like for you it was 5 million euros, but for the contract that is eligible for the EIB is up, is 10 million euros and up. How should we proceed in this? If you got the question, and maybe later, or if you can also answer us in Czech afterwards, would be great. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for your question. And perhaps we can ask Director Janku and...
Yeah, sorry. So maybe I will start, and then I will post the microphone to my colleagues. Of course, we will speak together after the session, but in general, the limit is 5 million per the borrower, but it can be done in the revolving basis. So if the projects can be split in several phases, then we are able to issue the limit insurance contract when we will start with the insurance of the portion up to 5 million euro. Then something will be repaid, and then we can follow with other portions. So I think that it might be feasible to do such a transaction.
I think that it might be better to discuss afterwards, because I would like to know a bit more about the project. We don't provide guarantees to companies directly, so it would be only in cooperation with EGAP that we would complement their guarantee. Otherwise, we provide direct financing. Typically, the corporate financing starts at 20 million euros. But we now have venture debt that if it's something innovative, and we understand that in Czech Republic there are smaller companies, On paper, it starts with 5 million euros. In practice, it's more from 10, but that's why I'm saying it's better to discuss to understand what exactly you are after.
Okay, so I hope the answers were sufficient. Is there any other question from the audience, please? No one, so perhaps I can ask one question. I would like to ask the director, Mr. Janku, about the Fond Ukraine. As you mentioned during your presentation, let's say it's the only one national working program for exporters who would like to export to Ukraine. And recently there has been a novelization of the program. So I would like to ask, which we very much welcome. And I would like to ask you if in near future, if we can expect perhaps some more adjustments, like prolonging the time, and perhaps the limit 5 million euro and so on. So if you can answer, please.
Very nice question, and I'm happy to answer it, because trust me that we are discussing this topic almost every week with colleagues from ministries. And this topic is kind of stopped at the moment because there were elections this week. So of course we will continue with the discussions with the new government. But what is discussed at the moment is we are always discussing the increasing of the limit. So we are trying to increase it as much as possible. But at the moment, what we see from the exporters is the crucial point is the spreading of the products which are under the program. Because at the moment it's just the suppliers credits and risk of cancellation of the contract. But we would be very happy to persuade all the responsible people which will hopefully approve it, that we need to provide the support to the investors in the Ukraine. Because if we will or if you will be able to invest in the right time with our cover, then we will be really first in the Ukraine within the reconstruction process. So this is something what we are discussing. We know that 5 million euro for the investment is nothing. It's not helping. So we are also discussing the increasing of the amount. And also the length of the investment should be at least 3 years, because less it doesn't make a sense. So these 3 topics we are trying to discuss and improve, and we hope that we will be successful.
Thank you very much for your answer. These are great news for the business community, which I represent here today. So thank you. Thank you for your efforts. And now please thank once again all the panelists for their presentations. And let's move to the last part of today's program, which is program of this panel, which is the B2B or networking in the booth right behind you. So thank you for your attention.